got about 7 days, right? 6 days, actually. Officially 7 days, but we all know shit comes out the day before now. So I don't even know why they have an official release date when they always release the day before. But anyway, I'm going the day before, man. I'm not waiting until the 18th. I'm going on the 17th. So it's 6 days for me. I can't wait. I'm definitely going to do a whole show about it. Well, maybe not a whole show, but I'm definitely going to talk a lot about Star Wars before I go to see the movie. And then after I go to see the movie, I'm going to sit down and I'm going to record the rest of my show. And you're going to get both my pre-movie thoughts and expectations, and then you're going to get my post-movie reactions with a couple of friends and some interviews in between with, like, you know, some of the people that are there in line I'm going to talk to. I'll figure that out. But honestly, dude, it's going to be... This movie's awesome, man. Like, I am already fucking foaming at the mouth. I watched a lot of interviews. I've watched trailers. A lot of my friends are, like, avoiding trailers like the plague. They're avoiding interviews. They're avoiding anything to do about this because they want to be surprised. Me, I want to know everything I can. Everything, right? I want to read all the prequel books. I want to watch every single trailer and clip and every piece of footage, every behind-the-scenes making of... everything, because it's how I grew up. The moral fiber of my being is based on Star Wars. Who I am, what I've done, what I've become is due to Star Wars, right? Which sounds really fucked up if you think about it. It's basically taking all credit away from my parents, which I shouldn't do. But realistically, actually, let's think about it, because everything in Star Wars is based on some facet of a personality. So you have your cocky smuggler, you have your reluctant hero who becomes this awesome Jedi. You have the old wise trainer, and that's a mantle that gets passed down from film to film, from Obi-Wan to Yoda, and then from Yoda to Luke, who in his own sense becomes that old wizened trainer, basically, even though he has nobody to train until later on, which I'm hoping is what's up with this movie. Like, we get to see like where Luke went, and hopefully he kind of is trying to rebuild the Jedi Order or whatever. Who knows? I have no idea. And that's what's so awesome about this, is I don't really know, even though I've seen all this stuff. They've done a really good job about keeping their secrets. But yeah, like, everything about Star Wars kind of informs who I am. And I don't think that's anything special. I mean, I feel like there are a lot of people who can say that. And whether they know it or not, Star Wars is a big part of everybody's life. That sounds really geeky. That sounds like one of these folks that, like, you know, dress up and go to these, you know, weird, like, conventions and live in their basement and shit. But realistically, I mean, it's the truth. I mean, you can't say that about many other pieces of fiction. Not many things have had that effect on people. I mean, you can't say that about Predator, right? Even though Predator is, like, awesome, right? I'm not taking anything away from it, but I'm saying, like, you can't sit there and be like, yeah, you know, I make a lot of moral decisions based on Predator. Like, you can't. Like, you can say that about Star Wars because it all has to do with the shit that we feel, the emotions that we have in life. I mean, a lot of people don't think of it this way, but I mean, the Force is basically our conscience. It's what guides us, right? And, you know, you've got good and you've got evil, and you've got the light side and the dark side, and, you know, anger and hatred and all of those things lead to the dark side. And any selfish feelings and actions and stuff like that, that's all the dark side. And then you have the light side of the Force with the Jedis and shit, and they are basically very stoic and heroic. And you know, they do things very selflessly, and it's all about love and peace. And so it's like, really, it's a guide. It's like a modern day Bible that teaches you right from wrong in ways that Conan the Barbarian and Terminator never could. It's amazing. It's an amazing series. And, you know, while I'm not, you know, I don't know how to speak Wookiee, and, you know, I don't know the names of every single alien species in Star Wars. While that's not the case, I did take a lot and learn a lot from episodes 4, 5, and 6. Episodes 1, 2, and 3 still had the same kind of lessons, They had a different vibe, and I'm just not a big fan of the prequels. I think they're shit. Minus some key scenes that actually gave me some education about, how we roll into 4, 5, and 6. But they are Star Wars nonetheless, and a lot of friends and fans that I know have pointed out that, hey, even though it's shit, it's still a Star Wars movie. So, and, I can totally agree with that. I can get behind that. I own the entire saga, and I've watched it multiple times. And so it's still Star Wars. Okay? I concede. It's still Star Wars. But whatevs. And moving along, there was a special on this week. I think it was on ABC. It was a 20th anniversary documentary about Toy Story. And it's pretty awesome. I mean, I didn't really know a whole lot about it because it's one of those movies that came out when I didn't really give a shit about who wrote it, who directed it. I just knew it was a Pixar film, and I knew it was groundbreaking, and I knew it was awesome and amazing and fun, but I just didn't give a shit about who was behind it. I knew Tom Hanks was in it. I knew Steve Jobs had bought Pixar. I knew it was Disney, but beyond that, I wasn't into that. That wasn't the culture that I was a part of. But watching this really filled me in on a lot of gaps and a lot of pieces of information that, knowing it now, it was a lot of fun to watch. So I recommend checking it out. I believe it was on ABC. I can post a link to maybe the Hulu link or maybe the ABC website link or whatever. But it was definitely something that was worth watching. I mean, you find out all these little things, like, for instance, like most of the staff from Pixar were hired from LucasArts. They were kind of poached, or they defected and formed Pixar. And you had, Joss Whedon brought in to actually write the film, which I had no friggin' idea that Toy Story was a Joss Whedon film. It shows you that I'm not really just like this big Joss Whedon fan. I'm a Marvel fan. And when they brought Joss Whedon in and what he did for that franchise, it made me a fan of Joss Whedon. So I didn't follow Whedon. I just, I kind of jumped on the bandwagon with him. And to know that he was behind Toy Story as well, I mean, I already knew that he was like behind Buffy and Angel and like those top rated shows. Dollhouse was awesome. He's awesome. Firefly, good shit. Great writer. Cabin in the Woods is another great movie that he was behind. So, I mean, I give the guy a lot of credit. I already know like a good portion of his body of work. But to find out that he was also involved in Toy Story, that kind of blew my mind. I saw him. I was like, whoa, awesome. I didn't know that LucasArts or Lucasfilm was, also part of this. I didn't know that the plug almost got pulled on Toy Story. This is all stuff that I found out from watching this documentary, and it was just really engrossing and entertaining and a lot of fun to watch these people come together and really just talk about the ups and the downs and the creative process. Just check it out. But not before you check out this week's Phrases That Are Stupid.
Well, maybe it is stupid, but it's also dumb.
I can see this week's phrase being pretty controversial. Why? Not because it's like bad or anything like that, but just because I know for a fact that this phrase springs from a very warm and good place. This is something that people say because they want to do something nice for you and say something nice to you in a bad situation or in a bad time. So, before we get into, whether or not you think it's dumb, I think I should tell you what the phrase is. And that phrase is, anything you need, just ask. So if somebody's in a situation, any situation that requires sympathy, right? The first thing that somebody will say is, anything you need, just ask. You could be going through a difficult time. You could have a loved one that's sick or has passed away. You can have, your car could be, totaled, right? And you get these responses from people. And the response is, anything you need, just ask. What's wrong with that, you might ask? What is wrong with saying that? What's wrong with saying that? And this is not something that I think is the intention of the person saying it, but subconsciously, when you say anything you need, just ask, what that does is it makes you feel awesome. Like if I say that to somebody, I'm like, hey, anything you need, man, you just ask me and I'm there for you. I'm your buddy, right? And it makes you feel really good. On the other side, you're making the person that you're saying that to feel really awkward and maybe uncomfortable because there are probably a million things that they would love to ask you for, but they know that it's not something that you can provide for them. So it kind of makes you stop and say, man, that's a great offer, but I can't take you up on that, right? So, and nobody says that, and you can tell me that I'm dead wrong, but nobody really says that and actually means anything. So I feel like that phrase or that saying should be changed to something that's more true to what you mean. Like, if there's something that I can do for you, let's talk about it and see if it's within my means, right? That it's a very small alteration that makes that phrase, a more accommodating phrase and something that makes both people feel really good, right? Because when you say, is there anything that you need, just ask me, or if there's anything you need, just tell me and it's done, right? Like, so the first thing that would come to mind is like, oh man, these hospital bills are really mounting up. I could use some help with that. You know what I mean? Or, hey, funerals cost a lot of money. You know what I mean? Just to open up the ground to put somebody in it costs about $1,700. I would love that. If you got it, I'll take it. Nobody's going to ask for that. Nobody's going to say that. Even at the very least, even the smallest thing, I think it would be very uncomfortable or awkward for me to ask for, or for somebody to ask for. If you say that to me, you say, hey, if there's anything you need, just ask. Like, even if it was just, I haven't eaten in a couple of days because of, whatever, just all the stuff that's going on. Dude, a slice of pizza and a soda would be awesome right now. And I don't have any money because all of my money is going to these hospital bills or whatever, right? It's a very small request. It's maybe $10, but it feels very awkward to just even ask for that. So emotionally, I think that would be the best offer that somebody could make. Like, hey, if there's anything, if you need somebody to talk to, if you need a shoulder to lean on, I'll be there for you, right? That's a better phrase. But anything you need puts you into this category of, being able to do anything. You've given me a magic lamp that all I've got to do is rub and make a wish. And there's going to be somebody in life that's going to want to take advantage of that. And you're not going to be ready for it. So my plea is to just change or tweak, that frame of mind, that thought, that phrase into something that actually means something to both parties. Because on one hand, I know what you're saying and I know what you mean, and I'm totally digging it, and it makes a lot of sense. But on the other hand, if I really took it as you told me, as the phrase is put together, then I'm thinking, dude, sky's the limit, and let's make this happen. You know what I mean? Let's make all my dreams come true right now. And I know that's not what you mean. So let's change it. Okay? All right. And I'm going to end the show off with a couple of things that I think you guys need to be watching. One is Into the Badlands. This is a show that, I started off, just seeing the trailers and thinking that I really wanted to check it out. But then I never checked it out. And I finally got a chance to, and I plowed through 4 episodes of it. It is phenomenal. I mean, this is Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon in a post-apocalyptic future, and it's just friggin' phenomenal. The fight scenes are incredible. You've got, a lot of really big-time characters, some really big personalities, and it's just really, really well done. There are a lot of great characters in there. The Widow, Tilda, MK. You've got Sonny, who's the main character. The sword play is amazing. It's just, check it out. Give it a shot. I talked about it in one of the podcasts, and I was talking about the trailer or whatever, and I remember saying that it was like swords and guns